Welcome back into the Friday edition of Sportscall. Randy Lee alongside Andy Graham, 888-9-TIGER-9. We're going to go back to the Sportscall hotline now, I think, though. And Ron Ingram, are you on with us?
I am, and I'm pumping gas, so this will be interesting.
This should be fun, Ron. I think we had you on a couple of years ago, and you were running on a treadmill somewhere or something. So this one will be a little bit easier on you, Ron.
Well, I was running on empty right here, so I thought I had time to. How y'all doing, guys?
We're good. We've got Communications Director for the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Ron Ingram, on the phone with us. And, Ron, I'll let you start there. It's been a busy week with the association, hasn't it?
It sure has. It's been a busy 2 months, 3 months, to be honest with you, because this work that has been done by the association led by Mr. Savarese has been a really tiring but really interesting thing. This classification period, we researched and punched and crunched more data than probably ever before because of the fact that the seven-class system was going to change basically every sport. So we had to go back and reevaluate every single sport that we have to make sure that we had the best system and how can we align the schools the best way once the schools were established in the in the list. So we had to also do it for pretty much for 6A because that's what we have now. We didn't know what Central Board was going to approve.
Well, Ron, and we've been part of this, Brett and I. We've been lucky enough to work in and out, and I've known pretty much even when I was in high school, so upwards of 20 years ago, this has been brought up, a super class here in the state. So
right.
What changed this year to actually make it go through?
Well, I think in the past, Randy, when people talked about super class, if that's what you want to call it, we call it 7 divisions, 7 classes, because that's what it is. The super class was designed strictly for football. We're going to pull the top schools out of football, the larger schools, and let them play, and then everything else is going to be staying the same. And it was only for football, but I don't think our Central Board would have ever approved something that would just be for one sport. And so we worked to try to see how would 7 classes work for all sports. And once we got looking at it, we saw, you know what, this is not going to be just good for football. This is going to really be good for our other sports. It's going to create more state champions, more teams in the playoffs. It's going to create more opportunity for children or student athletes to enjoy the playoff system. And I just think it's just going to be something that's going to really be exciting. Really as exciting as when we went to 6 classes. Remember that? You were probably too young, but in 84, we went from 4 to 6 classes. That was a major upheaval. A lot of people said, how is this going to work? And once they got started, you want to go back.
Well, I think a lot of people feel that way, and we got Ron Ingram, the Communications Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, on with us. And, Ron, I see only positives here, and, I cover Benjamin Russell High School, so obviously if we stay in 5A, this makes it tougher on us, but it's a fair system, and it's the fairest system that I can see. But who are the winners and losers here? And I'm sure you've heard both sides.
Well, as far as winners, I think the state association, all the member schools are the winners in the long run because it's going to be, it's going to give them, I won't say but it's going to give more kids participation, more kids championship play, and it's also it has a chance to create a whole lot better schedules for schools, because it has less teams in the regions for the most part, and that allows teams to have more teams scheduled for football, better rivalries. Plus, at the same time, there was a change in tiebreaker L in the football playoff in the tiebreaker system that will allow schools to play and count wins over teams that are as low as 2 classes below them. In the past, that tiebreaker said teams whose defeated opponents in non-region play in class or above. So it discouraged teams from scheduling. So like Benjamin Russell playing a Clay Central, which is a great rivalry. That game you couldn't benefit from that game in a tiebreaker if you needed to. But now, if you play them, it will benefit.
Well, that's a great thing. And Ron, I've had a couple of questions brought up to me as the Super 6 is obviously moving to the Super 7. How will that change the scheduling? Will it start on Wednesday through Friday, or will it move into a Saturday in the championship round?
First, let me qualify by saying anything is subject to change based on Central Board, approval. And they've approved the whole, they approved the whole thing, but I mean, things could change if there was a need to change. But the schedule that we're looking at for 2014 Super 6 will be, Super 7, will be the schedule we have now for classes 1 through 6 won't change. It's just like normal, Thursday and Friday. But the 7A championship will be on Wednesday. I don't know the time; it's not really set in stone yet, but it'll be on Wednesday. The 6A or the 7A class only has 32 teams in it, so 50% of those teams making the playoffs equals only 16, which means that their playoff rounds will be one less. So they will start the playoffs the same as the other classes, but when we get to the fourth round, they will be off. The two teams that have advanced to the finals will be off, which will be Thanksgiving weekend. So they'll have that week and a couple of days to get ready. So they'll have 9 days instead of if they had 5 rounds, they would have only had 3 days to get ready. So this is a win situation there. But also, Randy, we're planning an 8th championship game, which I'm really excited about.
And what will
be played?
What will that be,
Ron? Game will be, well, this is something I hope we all get behind. It's going to be played prior to the 7A game. Well, at least that's the tentative plans now, and it's called the Unified Championship game, Unified Sports Championship game, and that's where unified sports teams are being as part of our cooperation with Special Olympics. It's going to allow Special Olympics athletes to pair with the normal or regular athletes in the school, non-football players, of course, but then they will play it like a flag football championship.
That would be outstanding, and that would be a really good and neat setup right there, and it'll bring more people to the communities, and Auburn being the one next year, and we're talking about that, and Ron, I'm sure that went into the thought process is another game, another champion, another day, and at that venue, I'm sure that they were excited about that.
Well, this is just an opportunity for kids that have never had this opportunity, and an opportunity to get an opportunity to play in this wonderful setting at Jordan-Hare next year and at Tuscaloosa right at the end of next. That's just football. But now we also have 7, as far as unified championships and other sports, I think we're going to work those in just as we can develop them. And we're going to start, I think, with football and see how that goes. But we are committed. Mr. Savarese is very committed to developing a unified sports program, a comprehensive program in the state, along with the help of the Special Olympics people and leaders. So that's something we're excited about. But then basketball is going to have 7 divisions. It's going to be a Monday through Saturday now instead of a Tuesday through Saturday in regional and state. And baseball will have an extra day. It will start, on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Softball will start on Wednesday instead of Thursday. It's going to be adding an extra day, which is an expense. But it's much more, far more offset by the thrill and the excitement and the play and the championships that will be named.
Ron Ingram, Communications Director with Alabama High School Athletic Association, on with us. Got a couple of more minutes, Ron, and I got to take advantage of having you on the phone with us. It's basketball season, and I saw a score last night: Winona beating Hoover at Hoover, 101-99. We'd love to see a game like that.
Had to be, right?
Well, I'm telling you, that Birmingham area up there is it's rolling over with great basketball talent right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and just the weekend before, Parker beat Winona. So you can imagine, that's in the same area. So that must have been quite a game. I saw that score, too, this morning. In fact, I told Mr. Stallworth, who is our basketball expert, the former Bradley High School head coach, who's now associate executive director, the score, and he said, man, why didn't we go last night? But just a few weeks ago, there was a 6A game up there where the final score, though, was 31-19. So you never know. That's great defense, well, I guess we would say. While we're talking, I think it's worth mentioning, last night, Donnie Roberts, the head coach at Red Bay girls basketball, won his 799th game.
It's some great records out there. Right by here, Coach Blue over at Coosa Central, right. the gym being named after him. And
that's where I'm heading right now. I'm about 20 minutes from Rockford.
Well,
and I'm looking forward to that.
That's a tremendous thing, and very, very deserving here in our local community. And Coach Blue is really thought of as highly as any coach that we've had through these parts for a long time. In closing, Ron, You got the wrestling championships coming up in Huntsville in the next couple of weeks, and then a month from now, we'll be at the BJCC with the Final 48.
Right, and and next week at the Crossplex in Birmingham, we got the indoor state track championships. If you've not been to that, I encourage any fans that want to see some excitement to go. It's a beautiful facility, one of the finest in the world, and we'll have one of the world-class runners, and Marlon Humphrey from Hoover, as a hurdler. He's one of the fastest in the world. People need to come see this meet. It's great. It's a wonderful meet. One of the best things that's ever happened to the state of Alabama.
Well, we appreciate you being a part of the program, Ron. I want to commend y'all. I think this is a great move that the High School Athletic Association, I know it's a lot of work, but it was much needed, and I think there's a lot more excitement out there than negative response that we're hearing. So thanks for taking a little time to be part of the program.
Appreciate it, man. And I'll be honest with you, I think the response has been very positive, and the work that we did was just a labor of love. And the work there's a lot of work done outside our office to help make this work. We just appreciate our member schools being so cooperative.
We appreciate you, and that's Ron Ingram, the the communications director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, on the phone with us. And we'll go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll get Andy's thoughts on some of that, and we'll also move in and finish out with baseball and softball. Talked a little about it today, but we've got a couple of weeks as Auburn will kick it off on Valentine's Day, February the 14th, or opening pitch, whatever you want to call it. More from the Friday edition of Sports Call right after this.